You agree, but you didn't agree fast enough.
The opportunity shouldn't have even come up. Like, why was she even there? Your husband, they lost. Like, what are you doing?
There's so many red flags in that, and I wouldn't have it. If I was Bradley Beal, I'd have beaten the basketball.
Okay, we don't. There's no domestic violence.
There's no domestic violence in this relationship. I want to put that disclaimer out there. I'm just saying what could have happened. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We are back here on League of My Own. It's your host, your boy P-Way, and the one and only, the beautiful, the lovely Jasmine.
Hey, guys.
Guys, we are excited.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we heard a lot of news in the last 48 hours that is changing the course of history. It's changing what's to come. 3 legends are moving on to different aspects in their lives, you know, so we have to talk about this, and let's go ahead and get it started.
Let's go. So first, biggest breaking news of the week, Nick Saban announced that he's retiring after 28 years of coaching. The proclaimed GOAT of college football leaves an incredible track record. What are your thoughts about all of this?
This is absolutely wild. You know what? Let's hear your thoughts. What you got? What you thinking?
Really, it's just kind of unbelievable. I mean, you know, just trying to figure out why so suddenly, why now, what changed, what happened. There were rumors saying that his wife was, Miss Terry, was sick, but apparently that was they actually came out and said that was not true. That was false news. So,
okay.
I don't know what it could be. I mean, he was 72 years old. I mean, like we said, an incredible track record.
I think that might have been a factor, the age, but it just didn't seem like it. After they lost in the college playoffs, he just said, you know, how he could have coached better. Yeah. And that was it. Like, he didn't give any type of warning or feel that this was coming.
Right.
So it's still like processing. Alabama with no Nick Saban.
What is it?
What is that?
Is it even Alabama?
Right. It doesn't even sound right. Roll Tide Nation without Nick Saban. We're talking about looking at a football game and seeing Roll Tide, seeing that crimson and that white out there, and not seeing Nick Saban on the sidelines. That sounds crazy. But, you know, all good things come to an end. And it's just a hell of a career by Nick Saban. 7 national championships, 6 with Alabama, 1 with LSU, 292 total wins. You know, he has more NFL players that went in the first round than actual losses in his career at Alabama. That's wild.
Yeah.
That's a wild stat. And it's just like, really think about the effect he had on Alabama. We're talking about, you know, half of the endorsements, you know, the money. We're talking about Alabama being probably the most liked, loved, and hated team in the last 20 years than anybody. They're up there with the Cowboys and maybe the Lakers and the Celtics and teams like that. So, you know, just I'm thinking about all the times that, you know, us as fans and us as, you know, sports analysts really watched Alabama over the years and all the moments that they have created. You know, it meant a lot when the team beat Alabama. Like, that was the season. Yeah. When Ole Miss that one year beat Alabama, that was their whole season. They lost like 3 games in that whole year. Really didn't matter because they beat Alabama. And, you know, the effect that he had on that team and on college football is just, you can't really put it in numbers, you know? It's just a great deal.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And, you know, with him leaving, what are your thoughts on, like, who could fill his shoes? Any potentials out there?
The only hope to fill Nick Saban's shoes.
Go ahead, say it.
It's Coach Prime.
I knew it.
Coach Prime himself. Like Coach Prime always says, you're either elevated or terminated. So that's not going to happen. Coach Prime is not coming to Alabama from Colorado, but there's no one that's going to fill his shoes. I think that they're just going to be in a transition point. Just like Duke is kind of going through when they lost Coach K um, in their program, in their basketball program. So, just one of those things they're going to have to get through. But it's just really crazy that, man, no more Nick Saban at Alabama. Like, wow. Like, yeah. So this is crazy.
Moving on to our next topic. Pete Carroll was let go by the Seahawks, but will have another role in the organization. Can you kind of talk about that? What role is this that he's been offered, and how do you feel about this change?
Well, I saw the reports in my research, so they haven't really named a role for Pete Carroll. And this is another legend, Pete Carroll. We talking about one of the, I think he is the only coach who's coached a national championship and won, and coached the Super Bowl and won. Like one of one. And it's crazy seeing, him finally move on to a different aspect in life. But I think this one makes a little bit more sense than Nick Saban. I mean, they're both up there in age. So, only they know where they're at, and how much of a load they can carry. But I think this is smart by the Seahawks, to keep him in house. And maybe I can see him as a senior advisor to another coach and help groom a younger coach. Because his energy he has that youthful energy. We went to see mini camp. We went up there to Seattle, so we seen him, and yeah, he was out there, throwing the ball around, and
didn't look like he was 70.
Right, didn't look like he's 70. So, I think this is a good move by the Seahawks, and I'm interested to see, what's coming next for them. And we talked about this our last episode with Jim Harbaugh.
I was going to actually just bring that up. Since he won the national championships, do you think he's actually going to go ahead and make that move back to the NFL? Try to get to the Super Bowl then? Because, he did go with the 49ers, right?
I did. Yes, he did. And I see that. And another thing we didn't even talk about with Jim Harbaugh is definitely going to be on a revenge tour. The fact that he lost the Super Bowl to his brother, who coaches the Ravens. So we didn't even talk about that. So I think Jim Harbaugh is definitely looking at these teams now who are out a coach. And these are some great, great teams to join. And I think he really fits well in Seattle. They already have that defensive-minded toughness, especially with the 12s, the energy of that fan base. I can see Jim Harbaugh probably making that move. And I think this might be his best fit to come to Seattle. So, but, we'll see. We just know that only time will tell.
There's so many opportunities available out there. I mean, a lot of positions that need to be filled.
That's right. That's right.
All right, then we have Bill Belichick, who's been released by the New England Patriots. What do you see in his future?
Bill Belichick, another one. God, we just went over Nick Saban, Pete Carroll. Now Bill Belichick. This is crazy. This is crazy. We get these news back to back like this.
All in the same week.
All in the same week. I think that Bill Belichick, there was a lot of what can I say, hostile energy between Bill Belichick and the owner. There's a lot of things going on behind the scenes that led to this. And I'm really interested in seeing that new, documentary about the Patriots that's going to kind of shed more light about, what was going on during their success. I even heard, I think, Amendola, he came out and said, we worked for Bill Belichick, but we played for Brady. And for a player to say something like that, there's something going on, within that dynasty. So I can't wait to look at that documentary and find out. But nevertheless, he won 6 Super Bowls. He coached 6 Super Bowls. You can't take that away from him.
Right.
There were games that's proven that he coached very well. Of course, we have the Deflate Gate and some actions in there, but 6 of them, stop it.
Right.
He won 6, so he's a legend in his own right. And I'm very curious to see what he's going to do. It doesn't look like he's ready to hang it up. I'm actually don't mind if he comes down to Carolina. I feel like he's the one coach that can kind of deal with our owner. So maybe we'll see. But man, Bill Belichick, like I'm trying to think of the best fit, honestly, for him will probably be the Chargers. You know,
Why do you think that?
I just think with their offensive talent and them having Herbert there, he knows how to, I think, communicate to a quarterback. It's kind of proven. And with the defense that they have there, I think he can help, really get the respect of the locker room
Mm-hmm.
and change, what's going on up there because last year the Chargers had no respect for their coach and it was shown. So I think that would be a good look for Bill Belichick. So we'll see.
We'll wait and see. Wait
There
and
we
see. There's
go.
a lot of big changes coming.
Definitely. And this actually brings me to my next point. I
Mm-hmm.
actually agree with Nick Saban, Pete Carroll, and Bill Belichick all getting out of here. Why?
Why?
Because I feel like nobody over the age of 65 should be in any direct leadership position.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, regardless of their health?
Regardless, you at that age, I'm talking about the direct line leader or the direct leader, like you are the person in the game basically.
Mm-hmm.
You're too old as far as, being quick minded and you have a lot of wisdom. I'm not saying that,
Okay.
but just keeping up and being able to communicate to the young crowd and the older crowd. I actually prefer a coach to be in that 40 to 55 range. I think you about to say something.
I get what you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like you didn't have this view until after they had all, moved from that position. Because
Nah,
you didn't agree with Nick Saban leaving,
I
but
mean it
then you're
just
like,
because he's Nick Saban. I'm not gonna, you're doing great. You're doing great. Don't get me wrong. He's Nick Saban, so I'm putting respect on his name.
okay,
But they could have been going. I can see them as advisors,
okay,
right? I
but
think they would do better as advisors at their age, as
but
far as really relating to the young
mm-hmm,
folks and so much wisdom they can give to
right.
and a coach. I would rather see them in an I would rather see them in an advisory role.
But you just suggested that Bill Belichick could go ahead and take the coach position for the Carolina Panthers.
He could.
Is that out of desperation, or is that because you truly feel?
That's absolute.
which one is
That's
it?
absolutely out of desperation.
Okay.
There gets no
Okay,
worse than what we had this year. So anything is better.
it was just two different opinions, two different
No,
views. I
it's
just
not.
want to,
It's not.
be clear.
No, it's not. That's what I'm
Okay.
saying
Okay.
is I don't. There's nothing worse than Carolina. We can have a 80-year-old coach. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
What
Okay.
I'm saying is even like with politically, the main reason why I don't really care for Biden or Trump, is that both old. They're too old to
Well,
be
Biden's
to
old,
be.
very
They're
old,
both
so
very
a
old,
lot
but
of
they're
people
too.
don't
They're
like
both
that.
old to be in a leadership position,
Okay.
And I think at some point you just get out of touch with, the current movement. And I feel like yes, you can advise
Mm-hmm.
and you can be in a great position, such as I think what they're going to do with Pete Carroll. Put them in an advisory role. They can share so much wisdom that they have from the past and
Mm-hmm.
experiences. But as far as being in the locker room and being on that practice field and being really in tune and
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff, people are gonna respect them.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong; they're legends. But I still say, man, if you're over 65, move to an advisory role, man. Get out the direct leadership position as far as a head coach or something like that at any level. You just at that point, you're just doing it a little bit too long. It's time to go. That's just my opinion. So
Would you say the culture is changing, or?
it is. You see a lot of young coaches out here.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's really not nothing new. You had a lot of coaches who
Yeah.
started out,
Yeah.
a little bit younger, like Nick Saban, 28 years of coaching. So he's 72. We're looking at 44 years old. That
Math
fits
is
in my
better than
timeline.
mine.
That
Mm-hmm.
fits in my timeline of 40 to 55. So, I just think that's when men are in their prime as far as experience, but still being able to be in tune with
Mm.
the younger crowd and other young men. So
That must be a man thing. Women are always in their prime.
wow, that's
But
crazy.
yeah,
That's
moving
absolutely
on to the
crazy.
next topic.
Go ahead.
The Heat head coach signs an 8-year, $120 million contract, becoming the
Mm.
most lucrative coaching deal in NBA history.
Mm-hmm.
Now, much was being made of the deal being that it came after the news of his public divorce in late November. Mm-hmm. It was only like maybe 5 weeks after his divorce was finalized. Right. Do you think that the Heat purposely looked out for him?
Absolutely. Absolutely. They looked out for him.
So they were doing Coach Spo a favor.
They did Coach Spo a favor. I think Coach Spo talked to Pat Riley and just said, listen, man, I'm going through some things right now. Relationship, we have agreed to move separate. I need you. They already had the talks. I believe they already had the talks. They already had the figures, the numbers. They've been through this. He said, listen, hold on 1 second. Let me deal with this situation. Okay? I'm separating with my wife. You know that how alimony works. If you give me this deal now, that's going to be on the record. Okay? Mm-hmm. I need you just to hold on a little bit. Let me get this straight, and then we can go ahead and continue. And that's exactly what they did. They call it Heat culture for a reason. Heat culture is Heat culture. They have a heavy background of looking out after their players. Look at how they treated, Udonis Haslem, who put his soul into the Heat, and they still took care of him for so many years. You look at how they treated James Jones. You look at how they treated Dwayne Wade, Shaq. They treat their players well. Alonzo Mourning, Heat culture is a real thing. Look at Jimmy. Jimmy is flourishing down there. He loves it down in Miami town, so in Wade County. So I feel like, this was simple. Eric Spo definitely went to him. They knew the deal, and he said, say less. He didn't even think about it. He said, I got you. I'm going to just let you continue doing what you're doing. Get that straight. Get that figured out. Close that chapter. And as soon as your ink hit that paper, 120 mil.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, you don't think it could have been purely coincidental? Just
absolutely
not at all. Okay,
absolutely
no
not.
Chance.
Pat Riley is an original gangster. Like, Pat Riley has a lot of stories that's documented, and that was simple. And that's the perfect owner to have. Pat was like, it wasn't even nothing to him. As soon as Pat heard it, he's the type to be like, oh, okay, yeah, I got you.
No problem.
Okay, you going through that? Oh, so wait a minute. Yeah, we're gonna wait. Matter of fact, he probably Spo didn't even ask him. All right, Spo went to Pat Riley and simply said, listen, I'm going through something right now. I think, I'm having a change in my relationship. And Pat came out and said, listen, don't worry about that. I need you to figure that out. And I got 120 waiting for you as soon as you sign those papers. That's how it happened.
That's how easy it was.
That's how easy it was. Okay. It wasn't a difficult situation. Wow. So shout out to Pat.
I mean, it's definitely a win,
It's a win.
But my question to you is, do you really think that he's actually even deserving of this? Like, is he worthy of this contract, being that it's the most lucrative in NBA history?
I think Spo has done a lot of work. I mean, he hasn't won a championship since
2013,
since LeBron and all the All-Stars he's had. But the Heat have consistently overproduced.
Okay.
If you look at their roster, you do not see them winning or go as far as they had. They've been to the finals twice, since after LeBron left. And the times they've been there, their roster was not supposed to get that far. So I just think he really gets the best out of his players.
Okay.
So I think there's no other better coach when you actually look at it out in the NBA. Who's better than Spo? That's the question. Who is better than Spo right now? Only Pop. I think only Popovich is better than Spo. So I think it's definitely a worthy deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then lastly, let's talk about the drama. Bradley Beal's wife was caught on camera giving James Harden a high five after the Clippers defeated the Suns. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm not even going to say a word. I want to hear your thoughts on that. I'm not going to say nothing because depending on how this is answered, it's going to depend on a lot of things that's going on in this household right here.
Look, ain't going nowhere, okay? So it's not going nowhere anyway.
Let's what we're going to do, we're going to play the video
Okay.
while she's explaining. So after you reviewed the tape and you reviewed the footage, what were your initial thoughts on this situation?
Not even really like not knowing the background. Like if you go in not even knowing the background, just understanding that that's not her husband. Her husband was on the other team that lost.
Mm.
Questions quickly arise. Why was she waiting? Was she intentionally waiting for James Harden? I mean, she walked away after they did their little high five, interlocking the fingers thing. Like, there's a difference between high five and high five with the locking of the fingers.
Indeed, there is.
There's a difference. You know, they shared a little giggle in between together. Don't really know what that was about. I don't know if there's history there or what could be going on, but none of it looks right. Like, even if things were right, if everything was in the right position, she did no wrong. Bradley Beal has no problem with it. The point is, you have to remember being a public figure. There are cameras. There are cameras everywhere. People are going to record things. People are going to see things. And I just don't think you ever want to put your spouse or your partner in a position where they look stupid.
Yeah.
It's just not a good look whatsoever.
Okay. You done?
Yes, I'm done. Do you need me to say more? I mean,
no, that's it. I'll say I wanted you to get everything out. All right, fellas.
Whoa, I'm
talking to the fellas right
Hold
now.
up.
All right. I am talking to the fellas right now.
Uh-huh.
You allowed her to speak and that was very long. To simply say that shit shouldn't have happened. Period. That's it.
Still, the breakdown is necessary. There were many wrongs done, not just one.
I'm going to ask you to allow me to have my time.
It's your time. Go ahead.
I'm going to ask you to allow me to have my time.
Go ahead.
You just went on a long thing about, and how it was wrong and how it made it look. And, after the game, was he waiting on James Harden? I don't care about none of that.
Okay.
This is the fact.
Right.
Eye contact, no. The lock, y'all. No. None of my boys will ever even approach Jasmine in that situation.
One more point. When you said none of your boys, I don't know who James Harden boys he might be with or whatever. But and this could just be, really stretching. But Drake has a couple songs that he references James Harden in and talks about how James Harden will steal your girl, and he's like a little sniper or snake or something.
Right.
So I mean, I don't know. There could be more that's known that obviously we're not aware of.
And that just further proves my point.
This
is a no-go. As soon as she went to high five and she felt anything like she's like, yo, don't what you doing? Like, don't grab me like that. What's wrong with you? Like, I don't care how tight or close they are. As soon as those fingers creased in between, like that should have easily been a knockoff. Easily should have been a. What are you doing? What you don't do that. Don't grab my. What are you doing? Like she smiled and walked away. What was that?
I mean,
what was that? And fellas, y'all know what that was. It doesn't need to be explained. It doesn't need to be some long trajectory or sentence or whatever. You agree, but you ain't breathe fast enough. You agree, but you didn't breathe fast enough.
The opportunity shouldn't have even come up. Like, why was she even there? Your husband, they lost. Like, what are you doing?
There's so many red flags in that, and I wouldn't have it. If I was Bradley Beal, I'd have beamed the basketball.
Okay, we don't. There's no domestic violence.
There's no domestic violence in this relationship. I want to put that disclaimer out there. I'm just saying what could have happened. But for me, it's just like, nah, that's a no-go. And fellas, quick etiquette. All right, let's have a little etiquette class real quick. When you are communicating with another man's woman, it's always a natural separation you should have. Side hugs. How you doing? All that. We don't need to do the front hugs. If they're with their man, you greet the man first, say what's up, give him his respect, and then you don't even have to hug the other woman. You can give her some dap as well. Or, side hugs if y'all are obviously, a friend group and y'all been around for a little bit. So that's common etiquette. A high five is okay if y'all been your friends, y'all know each other, whatever, cool, But the lock, That's not even. It's not even up for discussion. It's not even up for discussion, and I'm just very disappointed. If let's just say somehow, which I know the truth of this situation. We know between the lines. But let's just say they're just tight friends, and she just messed up and did this and smiled and winked and did all that stuff. Even I think James Harden walking away. I think he like looked back at her.
Look back.
It was
They
bad.
were laughing.
Yeah,
They were,
nah, it was too much. It was too
yeah.
much. But let's just say it was all innocent. They both, definitely need a etiquette class on greeting um, outside of Bill's presence. So Bill, uh, hey, it's out there. Let's just hope it's not. Don't be surprised now.
But he looks like a
In
sucker.
a couple of months or something, we get some news. Breaking news: Bradley Bill has divorced. I ain't gonna put that out there, but I'm just saying.
I don't know. It's a sticky situation, Yeah. You wouldn't find me doing that.
That's right. That's right.
That's right. That's right.
So that's just how I feel about that situation. So we just want to thank you guys for coming again.
Thank you.
Another episode of League of My Own, man. And we're just going to end this with respect to Nick Saban. Thank you for the influence. Thank you for the moments. Thank you for the experiences.
The sacrifice.
The entertainment that you have given over years by producing and coaching and developing, many talents that we were able to witness in the last 28 years.
Yeah.
So salute to Nick Saban. This is your boy at P Way and the beautiful, lovely Jazz. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, and we see y'all next episode. Peace.
Peace.